The fog rolled thick across the morning sea as Lieutenant Alex Rivera steered his patrol vessel toward a blinking radar anomaly. It was supposed to be empty waters, but the signal had pulsed steadily for hours. Then, through the mist, a silhouette emerged, massive, rusted, and quiet. A cruise ship, unregistered, drifting alone. Alex slowed the engine. The ship had no flags, no crew on deck, no name visible on the hull. Its paint was faded and chipped. Barnacles clung to its waterline like armor. "How does something this big just go missing?" he whispered. The ocean responded only with gentle waves slapping metal. He radioed in the Discovery. HQ asked him to board and investigate while they contacted maritime records. Alex secured his vessel and climbed the rope ladder. The air smelled of salt and metal. The deck groaned under his boots. He stepped into the silence of a floating ghost. Inside, the hallways were still. Lounge chairs were bolted down neatly. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and ring the notifications bell so you never miss our upcoming stories. A piano stood untouched. Everything was covered in a light layer of dust, but nothing was broken. No signs of panic, no graffiti. It felt more paused than abandoned, like everyone had left quietly. He walked past folded napkins on tables, empty glasses on counters, and deck chairs facing the horizon. Someone set this up to last, he noted. There were no signs of looting, no water damage. The ship was perfectly preserved, just eerily still, like it had drifted straight out of time. Alex entered the passenger cabins. Beds were made. Luggage was stored. He opened one. Inside was a journal, neatly written in French. The last entry said, "The captain says we wait. I trust the sea." He turned the page. Blank. That was the final message. He felt something stir in his chest. He explored the ballroom. Chandeliers swayed slightly. Sheet music sat open on a music stand. A scarf hung over a chair as if someone had just left to dance. He found no signs of a struggle, no sign of people at all. Control panels blinked on standby. Charts were folded, systems low on power. But everything was intact. The ship hadn't lost control, had been left. That was the strangest part. No distress signals had ever gone out. No record of this vessel in the logs, HQ responded. No match found in active registries. The ship didn't exist, at least not officially. Could be a retrofitted private liner, they guessed, or something decommissioned and forgotten. But Alex wasn't convinced. This didn't feel forgotten. It felt set aside. He wondered, by whom? Down in the gallery lounge, he found photos-framed portraits of guests, laughing, holding cocktails, dancing. A nameplate read, "Voyage of the Lark, 1999. He looked it up. Nothing. No ship by that name, no incidents, no news. Just smiles in still frames, like ghosts who had nothing to haunt. Then he found the message, taped to the inside of a supply cabinet door. A handwritten note in faded ink. "We chose to leave. The world wasn't ours anymore. So we gave the sea her silence back." Alex read it twice. It didn't answer anything, but it explained everything. He sat in the empty dining room for a moment, listening. No engine hum, just waves, wind. This ship wasn't haunted, it was at peace. Left not in fear, but in reverence. A quiet exit, the kind most never get. He felt strangely honored to be its only visitor. At 80% of his search, he found something that changed his understanding. A child's drawing taped inside a cabin. Crayon waves. A sun, and the ship smiling. On the back, a line, "We'll come back when it's quiet again." It wasn't an escape, it was a promise. Alex didn't disturb anything else. He returned the drawing to its wall and stepped back onto the deck. The fog was lifting now. He looked out at the open sea and thought about stillness, about listening. Not everything needs to be solved. Some stories ask only to be respected. He logged the find as requested. Drifting vessel, no passengers, no danger, intact. But in his private notes he added, "Ship appears intentionally preserved, no signs of conflict, presence is calming, story incomplete but beautiful." He didn't expect anyone to understand, but he had seen it. That was enough. Before leaving, he snapped a photo from the patrol boat. The cruise ship sat quietly, framed by sea and sun. From a distance, it looked like part of the ocean itself. Nature had started reclaiming it slowly, gently, like the sea was keeping a promise to the people who once sailed here. Back on land, Alex printed the photo and pinned it above his desk. When colleagues asked, he simply said, "It's a place I found, where someone left something behind." He never told the full story, not because it was secret, but because it was sacred. A message whispered in salt. Years later, the ship was still occasionally spotted, logged by sailors who called it the Drifter. No one ever boarded again. Mariners spoke of it in hushed tones. They said the waters calmed when it appeared, as though the sea itself exhaled. Others swore their radios fell quiet near it, no static. No voices, just a hush that felt deeper than silence. All who encountered it agreed on one thing. It was a moment outside of time, a slow drift, a stillness that felt intentional, as if it chose to be seen just once. For Alex, that moment marked a dividing line in his life. Before it, he was a man of pattern-soft routes, of weather charts, of clipped messages and steady engines. Afterward, he moved through the sea like a man in a cathedral, slower, eyes wide, hands still, words rare. The ocean, he realized, does not always announce itself. It doesn't always rage or roar. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes it invites you to do the same, to pause, to notice, to listen to a kind of silence that speaks with centuries behind it. A silence that holds the weight of storms long past, ships long sunk, and secrets too wide for maps. He retired earlier than anyone expected. No fanfare, no explanation. He bought a small sailboat bare bones, no engine, just wind, sail, and salt. He named it Lark, after the bird that sings only when it chooses, quiet, free. He spent his days drifting, not searching, watching how light moves over waves, learning the rhythms of tides like verses in a song. Years passed. He aged gently, like driftwood smoothed by time. Then one morning, with the kind of breeze that doesn't ask for effort, he returned to those coordinates, the place where it all began. The ship, whatever it had been, was gone. No hull, no wreckage, no answers. Only sky, only sea. And still, Alex smiled, because some things don't vanish. They're not lost. They simply return to the sea.